Let's try. Great. Thank you very much. And hello, everyone. Sorry for this glitch with connection. Today, I'm going to be presenting on, as the title indicates, ICT in the English classroom, and the focus is on collaborative writing in terms of challenges and opportunities. Now, I will present on behalf of my team, Dr. Shadia Al-Hashimi and Sophia Hashim, and they are from different departments in the University of Bahrain, from the College of Arts, and from Bahrain Teachers College. Our paper is based actually on a couple of studies that we have done in the classroom and on the literature review. Now, before we begin anything, we have to understand that collaborative writing, CW, is an effective pedagogical method that employs critical thinking and collaboration in L2 classrooms, where a group produces a single text. It fosters deep learning in students through self-assessment and peer review within the same team. In a language 2 classroom, collaborative writing could reveal the development of critical thinking skills among students, including self-assessment, autonomous education, and reflection on their performance during a given task or project. This research addresses the main issues that emerge when incorporating collaborative writing within ICT-mediated classrooms and L2 classrooms in higher education context. In order to explore the effectiveness of implementing ICT group work in L2 writing classes, we pose the following, or the purpose is whether ICT supports collaborative writing, whether pedagogical, technological factors affect the outcomes, and we address the future directions. These are the main purposes for our research. So, our paper is basically situated within the theoretical discussions of implementing pedagogical practices, engaging with ICT and digital tools and platforms in collaborative writing settings. ICT and digital assets are explored within discussions that adopt technology as a feasible tool to produce collaborative writing and provide constructive feedback in comfortable environments that accommodate all students and reduce inequalities. Therefore, this study also engages in discussions that align with digital collaborative writing within the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, specifically SDG 4, which explores and stresses quality of education, and SDG 10, which stresses and also focuses on reduced inequalities. Literature reviews shows that ICT and digital platforms are common in EFL classrooms, English as a foreign language, and there are many, many examples and ICT assets that are used, including Google Documents, wikis, blogs, and of course LMS or learning management platforms, including Blackboard and Teams. Now, when implementing digital assets for collaborative writing in L2 classrooms, many advantages are found according to literature review. Most significantly is the ability to track real-time student collaboration. Now, this method also generates many layers of feedback, peer feedback, and then the teacher's feedback, and also the students get the feedback from digital platform, which means engaging the student in a very complex zone of communication and an advanced level of critical thinking. Now, since the feedback and digital assets is immediate, students develop their learning autonomy skills, exploring how to follow guidelines and develop advanced levels of self-assessment within the language or the second language, a classroom. Literature review also shows that ICT and digital platform allow educators to develop and improve their pedagogical practices, or in other words, they reflect on why do they use ICT and digital platforms. So the classroom could be planned in a way that is digital oriented, training students to develop their planning skills, brainstorming, using the digital tools and digital environment. It also allows educators to think about the design prompts, engaging teamwork, and co-authoring. So we as educators explore how students can learn to work in a digital environment that allows simultaneous editing and commenting. Finally, this method also creates a space for student reflection through post-task discussions, a process that enhances cognitive awareness among the students. According to literature review, there are some challenges. So, while adopting digital assets and collaborative writing in L2 Classroom is part of aligning with curricula, with SDGs, and it has a lot of advantages, it can be sometimes a bit challenging and leading to unexpected and unintentional pitfalls. For example, it is reported that although ICT and digital assets increase access to course material, making digital environment and accommodating a space that is inclusive of all levels of students, regardless of their intellectual background, economic background, and personal individual differences. This also could increase the inequalities. In other words, people who are with lower income could not have the same accessibility to LMS with those who are privileged. Or sometimes students who live in remote areas also. So this inclusiveness is a question here. The other concern is the varying digital literacy among learners and students alike. So which is also related to SDG4 quality of education. So one often overlooked issue is also assessment of difficulties or the assessment difficulties we face when we are doing a group writing tasks. So the educator's feedback is usually for the whole team, which somehow blurs the lines of individuality, and hence it does establish a unified or equal and fair feedback. But it might not be of the same level of fairness. That is, students with low performance and advanced students, they are treated alike. Now, to address these issues, some scholars advocate additional training and customizing digital tools, enhancing digital literacy, providing ongoing training for students and teachers, and so on. Other issues include the technical and connectivity glitches, like the one we are facing today in Bahrain. We have, like something all over the country. And this is also something that threatens, the digital environment and using ICTs in general. Other scholars insist on incorporating inclusive design and equal participation systems. In other words, they think that it is fine to use ICT, but we need to customize digital assets to meet the classroom needs. The methodology of this research is blended, and we combine a semi-structured interview, comprehensive literature review, and in vivo as a tool to facilitate thematic analysis. This triangulation is reported to be sustainable, sustainably reliable for validating the data, and it allows us to compare and contrast the result comprehensively. Interviews are conducted with 24 educators who employ ICT in their L2 classrooms and 24 students who are very active and they are seniors experienced in ICT. All of this is then processed into in vivo to produce a thematic analysis that focuses on common ideas, word statistics, and so on to discover the hurdles to the successful use of ICT in L2 writing courses identified in the interviews.
Okay, so, sorry, Hajar, to interrupt you, just to tell you that you've got about 5 minutes to finish. Then
Yeah,
we'll
we are
have a kind
almost
of a
done,
session of
actually.
questions.
Yeah.
Just quick information. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome. So the results of the interview reveal that 6 teachers opposed ICT totally for various reasons, but the most common include fear of student distraction, and then the reported plagiarism, concerns about students' loss of creativity because they depend over on AI. However, 10 teachers 100% advocated AI and ICT in the classroom writing class, the collaborative writing class, and they think that students can develop their skill and self-assessment, they can increase their market readiness, and they believe that digital assets allow for faster and more constructive feedback to students. And they stressed, learning autonomy and critical thinking. However, the last group, the remaining 8 educators, they provided rather insightful perspectives, and they advocate digital assets and the L2 classroom, but they think these assets need to be customized tailor-made, introducing a scaffolded use of ICT. In this sense, they suggest that we as educators need to reflect and justify why we use AI or digital assets in the classroom. As for students, you can see all 24 students advocated ICT and they think that it is a lifesaver. And they gave advantages that we all know, like saving time, autocorrection, safe storage, instant feedback. However, they highlighted some important points like, it could distract students, which could threaten their time management issue because, they work from their personal tabs and then they can go on social media at any time. And this will make them procrastinators. And then when they over rely on AI to generate tasks, then we will get in the problems of they lose their creativity. And of course, there is a problem in their generation and, their generation of ideas and production. And of course, sometimes, it is difficult for them to produce ideas and prompts that are contextualized in local context. And actually, this is where we found a very possible gap to help us to improve our work. This is an example of Envivo's work and how we developed our thematic analysis. And as you can see, these are the repeated words in the literature review and in the interviews. And the themes, I will just go very quickly with them. The theme or the first hurdle was the lack of training and digital literacy. And of course, this could be addressed by the ongoing teacher and student alike training. And then we always need to improve and update our integrated AI detection tools. We need to customize assignments, not give general assignments, which will be prone to plagiarism. And of course, we have to reflect on whatever we are giving the students to do. And then the last thing we need to know is we have to verify the written output with oral reflection to ensure the authenticity of the students. The second theme or the second hurdle is behavioral and attitude issues. Of course, this includes, like how the students keep delaying and delaying their work. And that is fine. We can just address that, okay, procrastination and distractions are problems, and then we can solve them by workshops on time management. And then we have to set clear deadlines for both us as teachers and the students. The third one or the third problem is the lack of tailor-made approaches. And of course, as the problem already is stated, the idea of solving the problem is by creating tailor-made thing instead tailor-made prompts instead of just giving, general homework. Just write a paragraph about like friendship. Okay, friendship with your friend yesterday or in this classroom and so on will be something more challenging. This means more scaffolding, multi-draft assignments. And the last one is we need to rethink creativity because creativity for us is usually aligned with language and the use of words and vocab. But with today's digital marketplace, we have to align our definition of creativity with what's going on with the digital marketplace. We have to think about design, layout, and so on when we are grading. So we had more pedagogical suggestions, including like we have to give more grades for visual design, presentation quality. We should increase competition peer review, for instance, and then we can always invite people from the marketplace to sit with the students, and that is going to bridge this gap. In conclusion, our paper has explored ICT and AI, and we discovered that they are literally transforming second language learning and teaching pedagogies. Success in adopting ICT and AI means that we have to depend on training, customization of AI assets and ICT assets, and then the ethical use. Policies also should evolve to balance human creativity and AI without any bias to any of any. And then we need to remember that educators must adapt assessment and tasks to a digital world instead of resisting them. This is everything almost. These are the future directions that we had. So more on exploring the variable because we did, only the seniors who are graduating. So probably the freshmen would have a different experience. And then cross-cultural dynamics and integrating SDG frameworks would also add more insight to this research in the future. These are sample of our references, and I hope the 5 minutes are fine. That's everything. Thank you for your time.